AI is hitting all parts of our life. It's got to be impacting your business, forecasting weather, because it's all about the models and what this model is saying. How is AI being used in the world of weather?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people think, they hear AI and they're thinking like Claude or ChatGPT or whatever. We have very specific models now that are emerging for a variety of purposes in weather. And I think the one that we're, really shocked and excited by right now is tropical cyclones, right? It's hurricane season right now. We're expecting probably a lower than average count of hurricanes this year, but surprisingly, last year was basically the first year that AI models were deployed to actually model hurricanes, and they did really well, insofar as they did basically better than every model that already exists, models that have been here for 30 plus years. Yeah.
I guess the question is, how far back do the models go when it comes to data? Because I remember how often we hear that this was the storm of the century, or we haven't had this kind of storm in X number of years. And if your data only goes back, say, 15, 30, even 50 years, that doesn't take you far back enough.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is one of the major concerns, is that we're concerned that if AI models are only trained on previous data and storms are getting more extreme, maybe they won't be able to actually predict those future storms that are, the most extreme stored on record. And yet last year we had one of those. It was Hurricane Melissa. And yet, the Google DeepMind model, which is an AI-based model, did better than every other hurricane model. Basically, it got its intensity basically correct and its path, where it exactly went, also correct. And it's a storm that it could never have seen in the training data, right? So that was, I think, really remarkable and exciting for us as, meteorologists, that these models are doing so exceptionally well, given they're a couple years old.
What is El Nino, and how is it going to impact hurricane season this year?
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about El Nino right now. It's it's this large-scale climate phenomenon. It basically, all it means is that the Pacific is warmer than average, but that has a lot of downstream implications for weather across the world, really. As far as hurricanes are concerned, we nominally expect that there will be fewer hurricanes than average. If there's maybe on average 7 hurricanes in the Atlantic, that this year NOAA expects maybe somewhere between 3 and 6, something like that. And so, that basically just results from the fact that the wind patterns change over the Atlantic and it's less conducive for hurricanes this year.
And what is the relationship between hurricane season here in North America versus, say, the typhoon season in Asia? Does it affect that?
Yeah, definitely. So what we generally expect is that the relationship between El Nino and what happens in the Atlantic, that's a pretty tried and true impact. We can look over 50 years of data and see usually during El Nino years, there's less hurricanes. In the Pacific, you kind of see different effects. In fact, on the eastern side of the Pacific, closer to the United States, you see perhaps more hurricanes than average, right? So the way that El Nino impacts globally hurricanes and the circulation patterns is different depending on where you are. And so we may, just because we see less here, we might still see more in the Pacific depending on where you are.
So who predicts like our hurricanes and tells us where they're going and all that kind of stuff? Is that the government or is that a private thing?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people, right? So
Okay.
there are a lot of government agencies which have these models because the models are
Is
really
it like a Canadian model, American model?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I hear about.
Exactly. I think as far as tropical cyclones are concerned, American stakeholders are more interested because, the Canadians don't really have an incentive to make a really great tropical cyclone model because there's not like a lot of hurricanes in Canada, But NOAA, I think, is usually the gold standard for this kind of stuff.
Who was that?
NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
All right.
Are they still funded? I mean, DOGE took cut a lot of jobs, and I'm guessing that something that forecasts weather is not high on the current White House's priority list.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've seen pretty big highs and lows probably as far as NOAA is concerned. You'll see there's hiring pushes very recently to bring back meteorologists because some were, cut in that, the DOGE of it all, right? And so, I think, all that aside, like the meteorologists who are doing hurricane prediction and general weather prediction are like super important, right? So these feel a little bit more like jobs that have a little more staying power, I would hope.